Good morning, people. People are coming inside. Look, we do have your bracelets for you. We're going to give you to you. Most of them already have them. So if no one has told you today that they loved you, let me be the first. I love you so freaking much. You are pure light. I'm going to give you 5 principles that I used for my own call to health, 2 brain surgeries I went through 2.5 years ago, as well as what my spouse went through 1 year ago with stage 4 cancer. And we transcended both of those things using these principles that I'm giving you this morning. I think that it's important that we understand a very important quotation from A Course in Miracles that really sets the tone for an understanding, a fuller understanding of the principles that I'm giving you today. And I say this to myself every day. The miracle establishes that you dream a dream and that its content is not true. This is an essential step in dealing with illusions. I'm going to restate it again. I always say it to myself, Kevin, when I was afraid or having an angst, right? Kevin, the miracle establishes that you dream a dream and that its content is not true. This is an essential step in dealing with illusions. I said this yesterday in Robert Perry's presentation too, that it's really important that we bring our affirmations, the quotations, the statements from A Course in Miracles, when we repeat them over and over again, we must include conviction, faith, belief, confidence in doing those things. If we don't, what we experience instead is we are interrupting. We are bringing doubt into the exercises that we are doing together every day. So keep in mind this, okay? So we're going to start here. The first principle here is how to leave the darkened glass of the ego. How to leave the darkened glass of the ego. I'm referring from lesson 325, which says, salvation's keynote. All things I think, I see, reflect ideas. This is salvation's keynote. What I see reflects a process in my mind which starts with my idea of what I want. From there, the mind makes up an image of the thing the mind desires, judges, valuable, and therefore seeks to find. These images are then projected outward, looked upon, esteemed as real, and guarded as one's own. From insane wishes comes an insane world. From judgment comes a world condemned, and from forgiving thoughts, a gentle world comes forth. Now, I traffic in science from time to time. I'm not a scientist, but I do pretend to be one from time to time. My spouse is a scientist. My friends are neuroscientists, neurosurgeons. My friend who's a neurosurgeon who actually went through my brain surgery, she did not do the surgery, but she was my next door neighbor and we were dear friends. So we still remained dear friends. So what I'm giving you today is cutting edge science. And I'm going to give you right now a miniature version. And before I say this, I got to say this first. It is really important as we discuss this together that what we are discussing here are dream states. Remember from the cameo in the Purple Book, when Helen Schuckman was having some angst, some problems, right? Jesus said, hey, we have to remember, Helen, that what we are discussing here are dream states, okay? So this includes the scientific method as well, okay? As well as this pile of dust, this device that I'm using to express the good, the sacred, and the beautiful, okay? So let me, Angela, can you come up here? All right. Can you hold this? We did that. You might want to go a little. We did work on the sound earlier.
Do you want to do that?
Okay, he may be able to turn it down just a little bit.
Hold the microphone down a little bit.
I know. I've been doing this for 30 years, and okay, is this better?
I can go down a little more. That's it.
Okay, is this better? Okay, good. That's good, John. Thanks. Okay. Thank you so much, Angela. Let's look at this pile of dust. Dream state. She's a wonderful device here, and she is obviously expressing the good, the sacred, and the beautiful. That is the purpose of this device. So let me show you what's happening here. I'm going to show you the scientific method here that actually perfectly reflects the salvation's keynote that I just mentioned to you from lesson 325, okay? So, Angela, right now, the photons that we are experiencing goes into your eyes right now, goes through your eyelids, and is focused on the retina in the back of the eye. Right there, it is turned upside down. This is why the world is upside down, by the way. When it's upside down, it is turned into electrical impulses. Those electrical impulses then, let's look this straight, the electrical impulses then moves through the neurons from here back to the visual cortex, the occipital lobe in the back of the brain, okay? It's about 2 centimeters long, so it's a very small portion in the brain. Okay. When it reaches this place, the electrical impulses are then projected on an inside screen in the brain. So what Angela is experiencing with us today is not an outward movie, not an outward dream that she is experiencing. What she is experiencing right now is an inner movie. Y'all get this? Say yes. Yes. Okay. Here's the rub. Angela's skull is sealed from external light. So the light that she is experiencing is imagined by the electrical impulses in her brain. So, those electrical impulses are projected outwardly. Okay. Secondly, it's really important that we understand this here. This is why we call it the darkened glass of the ego. A Course in Miracles refers to this in the mind, the darkened glass of the ego. Dr. Carl Jung refers to it as the shadow, and A Course in Miracles also refers to it as the darkness. Okay? So, she is really living in a darkened room right now. And so are you, and so am I. And the purpose of A Course in Miracles is to get outside of that darkened glass of the ego, that room, that darkened room that is tight, sealed from external light. So, scientifically, we know now, cutting-edge scientific study shows us that the brain has 3 ways of dealing in the world. First of all, the brain uses the past against the present to evaluate its future. By the way, A Course in Miracles says the same thing, that if we use the past against the present moment, the future will be like the past, and the present moment will be hellish. Okay? This is why it is important that we, yeah, I know, you all going, boom, right? With your, okay. So note, by the way, that is where the brain naturally, egoically does. Okay, secondly, that the brain is limited in its scope. Okay? It is not experiencing what A Course in Miracles refers to as the whole mind. Its scope is limited to its perceptions and its interpretations of the world. Okay? So this is why it is so important. I use this every day. Today, I will judge nothing that occurs. I will be honest with myself today. I will not think that I already know what must remain beyond my human grasp. I will not think that I understand the whole from bits of my perception, which are all that I can see. And so I am relieved of judgments that I cannot make. Thus do I free myself and what I look upon to be in peace as God created us. So this is why a suspension of judgment is essential in our sojourn in the light. You all get, are you still with me? Say yes. Yes. Okay. The third thing that we do with the brain as well, as we evolve in this dimension, that our interpretations and our perceptions, Angela, are coming from a mindset that we have, our attitudes about this world, okay? So it's our responsibility to understand that everything that we are experiencing in time and space continuum is a reflection of the mindset that we experience in time and space. If we are a gloomy Gus or a negative Nancy or a Debbie Downer, then our experience in time and space will reflect that. Scientifically, psychologically, metaphysically, and spiritually. Amen? Amen. Okay, I think we're done with you, Angela. Thank you for bringing your pile of dust up here. Okay, Stardust, that's a nice way to say it as well. My friends, the world is nothing more than an outward picture of an inward condition, okay? And it's really important as well, as I went through my call to health and Aaron's as well. We didn't say Kevin's having sickness here. I did not say my spouse Aaron is having sickness. But I changed my mindset. I changed the attitude of what I was going through in that moment. I saw it as a call to health. You see the difference from sickness to a call to health? If somebody is having a problem with abundance, they're not poor. They're having a call to abundance. All right? If a person is insane, they're having a call to sanity. You see how the brain and the mind actually changes the interaction of themselves to the world. This is why A Course in Miracles says, I am as God created me and not what I made of myself. I am as God created me and not what I made of myself. My friends, you want to experience the kingdom of heaven. You want to experience nirvana. It is all about alignment. It's about alignment. You are either aligning yourself to that darkened glass of the ego, represented in the back of your brain, or you are realigning yourself to who you really are, which is infinite consciousness. Say those two words with me. Infinite consciousness. Once more time. Infinite consciousness with conviction, confidence, infinite consciousness. Very good. Now, that's the first one. How to leave the darkened glass of the ego. Secondly, accept all things as they are. Say that with me. Accept all things as they are. So being truly in the present moment or the eternal timeless now, you have to understand that what is required to be truly here and now, be here now, is to accept all things as they are. Every day I have to remind myself from the first law of chaos in the Course in Miracles, which basically says this. Let's use Angela again. Are you comfortable with this?
Sure.
No, you have to come up here.
He's just gonna attack you.
So the first law of chaos, which is the first law of the ego, the voice of fear, is this. I, Kevin Rice, has a set of values here. I have a set of perceptions and interpretations here. And Angela over there, she has her set of values and her perceptions and interpretations as well. And that Angela's values and interpretations and perceptions is different than my values and interpretations and perceptions. Okay? But my values and my interpretations and my perceptions is better than Angela's. Hello?
What he doesn't realize is that mine are better than his.
Okay. Then Angela is immediately on a battlefield against herself. Kevin Rice is immediately at war with himself. All right? So it's really important that we set aside our own interpretations of this world and set aside our own and perceptions of the world, and to allow ourselves to be informed by love and not being informed by fear anymore. All right? Now we know that we are not accepting all things as they are when we experience ourselves as defensive. I remind myself every day as well, 2 lessons from A Course in Miracles. In my defenselessness, my safety lies. Let's say that together. In my defenselessness, my safety lies. And if I defend myself, I am attacked. If I defend myself, I am attacked. My friend, right now, you are infinite consciousness. You are safe. You are not in the matrix anymore. You are not in that darkened glass of the ego anymore. Okay? And so therefore, you are not bound by time and space anymore. A Course in Miracles says this. If you align yourself to who you are, your identification, that time goes by without its touch upon you. So you are no longer being bound by the world anymore. When I went through my recovery, which was so quick, and Aaron's recovery was so surreal because he did not experience anything for weeks when we had radiation and chemo, and we would just sit there in the house going, well, when is this going to happen? When is this vomiting that's supposed to happen? Nothing. Okay. Now about a couple, I would say 4 or 5 weeks, he had an incidence with it, obviously, from time to time. But both experiences were so surreal, not to just me and Aaron, but it was surreal to the doctors as well. So the doctor to me says, Kevin, whatever you are doing, keep doing it. And he said, what are you doing? I said, I'm not listening to the voices of the dead. I'm not listening to the voices of the world. These are statements from A Course in Miracles. The same thing is true when the doctor put a scope through his throat, found nothing, and has had nothing a few times for the last 6 months. Again, what are you guys doing? We'd like you to share this with the Cancer Institute here in Deerfield Beach. What are you doing? One is accepting all things as they are, right? I'm not at war with myself in that moment. I don't listen to the voices of the world anymore. All right. And recognizing that what we are experiencing in time and space right now, that from A Course in Miracles, I have done this thing, and it is this that I will undo. I have done this thing, and it is this that I will undo. In other words, I am responsible 100% for what I am experiencing in time and space. John, you have a t-shirt called what?
Everything is my fault.
Everything is my fault. Okay. Look, my friends, your mind is so potent. Your mind is so powerful. Every thought that you think manifests itself on some level in your experience in time and space. All right. So then, Angela, there she goes again. Angela is nothing more than a phenomenon. Say that word for me.
Phenomenon.
Phenomenon. Yes. By the way, this is the aphasia, by the way. He has to say the word to me, and then I can get it and repeat it. Okay. Phenomenon. There we go. See? So Angela is a phenomenon. What is a phenomenon? A phenomenon is an hallucination that there is a separate entity called Angela, okay, that's separate and different from this being called Kevin Rice. That is a phenomenon. Phenomenon. I gotta say it. All right. Phenomenon. Okay. I'm gonna take a glass of water here.
Make up your own words. Yeah, we don't care. It's fun.
My doctor says, Kevin, hey, you're still recovering. Most people take 15, 16, 20 years to go where you are right now. Take a deep breath, Kevin. And if you cannot say a word, take a deep breath and remember who you are. My speech therapist said the same thing to me. Phenomenon. Huh! There we go. Phenomenon. Huh?
What happened to you?
I bumped my head. We don't know what happened, actually. I rode my bike every day in Coconut Grove in Miami, and I have no memory whatsoever that occurred. And my spouse doesn't know. My best friends don't know. My dear friend, who's a neurosurgeon, didn't know either. And I'm going to talk about the cause of that in just a moment, okay? Remind me and say the word forgiveness, okay? Okay, I don't want to get ahead of myself too much here. Okay. So, there's no phenomenon there, or here, or anywhere. So we want to get to a place in our experience called what A Course in Miracles calls true vision. Or in the Ur text and the Purple Book as well is referred to as the spiritual eye, the third eye. How do we experience true vision? We experience true vision when I remove the gap that I myself have placed between me and Angela. When that gap is removed, then I can have an experience of unity with all of you, and Angela too. Okay? I am one with you, and you are one with me. All right. A Course in Miracles says, from the Song of Prayer, you do not make yourself the bearer of the special gift that brings the healing. You but recognize your oneness with the one who calls for help. In other words, I am one with Aaron Adams, who's having a call to health. For in this oneness is his separate sense dispelled. And it is this that made him sick. Y'all get this? I guess not. Do I have to repeat this? Yes. You do not make yourself a bearer of the special gift that brings the healing. You but recognize your oneness with the one who calls for help. For in this oneness is his separate sense dispelled, and it is this that made him sick. Okay, so let's use a phrase, and you guys should remember this phrase every day. It's called we call it turn it around. Turn it around. All right, I'll give you an example. My spouse can be stubborn, right? So the egoic mind says, man, my spouse is so stubborn. Okay, there I'm judging, right? I'm going to turn it around and say, Kevin, have you ever been stubborn? Yes. My husband is so unmindful. I turn it around. Kevin, have you been unmindful? Yes. My husband is not practicing the principles of A Course in Miracles. Turning around, Kevin, have you ever not exercised the principles of A Course in Miracles? The answer is yes. My friend, the problem is not Aaron. The problem is my interpretation that I gave to my spouse. That is what we are forgiving. I'm forgiving my own self-image called Kevin Rice. I'm forgiving this interpretation, this electrical impulses that I projected outwardly to my spouse as well. This is all. So we turn it around. Obviously, you know, John Denny and I last night, we were here at 9 thinking that's when our presentation was.
We were here too.
Yeah, other people were too.
We were like, okay.
Right. So what does the egoic mind do? It begins to attack, right? Obviously, as a good students of A Course in Miracles, what do?
We let it, we were going to go for it.
Well, I meant mentally what we do. The egoic mind wants to begin to judge and say, what the blankly blank? What just happened here?
Oh, your ego mind.
Yeah, well, I don't have an ego. No idea. Okay. So we want to judge, right? So what did I do when I left here last night? I think he did too. I don't know what happened in his mind. I'll tell you what happened in mine for a couple of minutes. You begin to judge the whole event. And I said to myself, Kevin, don't follow that thought. Don't follow that thought. If you follow that thought, you're going to experience a narrative, a storyline, what A Course in Miracles refers to as the song of death, the dirge. You're telling this narrative over and over again. Okay, my friends, what is a belief? What is a belief? A belief is nothing more than a thought that you keep telling yourself over and over and over again. So if you have a thought that arises in your field of awareness, a shadow of fear, of attack, or guilt, don't follow that thought. Say that with me. Don't follow that thought. Say it again. Don't follow that thought. Are you guys having a good time?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'd better get a margarita.
And John Denny, by the way, and we're doing good on time, right? Yeah. All right. So we're going to end it about 5 minutes later than we normally would. Okay, we'll answer your questions too. So, so I loosed the world from all I thought I was, right? I let go of my interpretations. I let go of my perceptions and so forth. The other thing that we want to know, that accepting all things as they are, say that with me again, accepting all things as they are. So what we have to do is to reduce the level of anxiety or resistance that we are experiencing at level 10 to 0 point. Okay. This is how we can accept all things as they are. Reducing the level from level 10 to 0 point. It's what I call the nothingness of something. The nothingness of something. By the way, Buddha referred to this as the void. Shakespeare referred to it as the blank. Jesus referred to it as the rock. Upon this rock, the kingdom will be built. Okay. What is the 0 point? It's to understand the nothingness of the something that you think is serious in your world. So, as I went through my brain surgeries, right, my brain was swollen for months. I couldn't speak, couldn't walk. My response, nothing, nothing, nothing. I understand that what other people would say, Kevin, this is a serious thing. And to myself, I said, no, it's nothing. It's nothing, nothing, nothing. Again, remember with me that what we are discussing here are dream states. Dream states. I'm not the dream itself. I am the dreamer of the entire dream that I'm experiencing right now. So it depends upon the attitude, the mindset that I'm bringing to the event. We drop a pebble of fear and division and judgment into this pool of awareness, and we see the ripples of it every day. But we can choose again. We can change the subject from fear to love. And I can drop a pebble of love instead today, and I'm going to see the ripples of it. When I drop a pebble, as John does every day with the harmony exercise, he drops a pebble of harmony and healing into the pool of awareness, and we experience the ripples of it each and every day. Are you all with me? Say yes.
Yes. Thank you, John.
So, reduce the level of anxiety and resistance, number one. And another way we can do this as well, we have two lists that we live on every day. One is, what is, okay, accepting all things as they are. Everything I'm looking at is nothing more than a projection, an external representation of what's happening in my own mind right now. Accepting all things as they are, I'm in the list of what is. But most people, unfortunately, are in the list of what should be. Angela should be this kind of person she should be. My spouse should be less stubborn. Okay? My boss should be less of a jerk. Okay? My kids, I should be better children than I thought they should be. We are continually in a should be list. And so what I'm asking for you today is get off of that should be list. Quit shoulding on yourself every day. Okay? Sickness and separation must be healed by love and union by A Course in Miracles. Now, I'm going to get to the third one here. Okay. Quickly. You've been so helpful through this whole thing, Joan. So why don't you come up here? Take this rope and take it as far as you can go. A little slower.
Hang on.
Keep going back. Oh. Okay. Go back. All right. By the way, John Denny is very certified in this as well, what I'm giving you right now.
In rope?
And rope. Yes, he is. Newly developed measurement process created by the Institute of Heart Math. The electromagnetic field produced by the heart has a measurable radius of 8 meters. That's 26.2 feet away. That's where she is over there. Okay. The electromagnetic field produced by the heart has a measurable radius of 8 meters. That's 26.2 feet. And you can just drop it now. So, somebody pick up that rope later for me, okay? So, what we were saying then is what I'm emitting from my heart, my emotions, my feelings, my attitude goes all the way out there to you. If I'm feeling a sense of anxiety or angst, guess what? Gary is going to experience it back there. Yes, you are. Okay? If I drop a pebble of love instead, Gary is going to experience this as well. The law of resonance states that when one vibrating system, the physical body, comes into contact with another vibrating system, another physical body, the vibration of the weaker body will adjust its energy to match that of the stronger body. In other words, the vibration of the stronger system will adjust to the energy of the weaker system. So the question is, which system are you using today? Love? Are you have the force of love, or do you have the force of fear? All right. Now, I think I'm on 4 here. Let me make sure I got this right here. Okay. Thirdly, and this is real quick here. Embrace all things with love. Embrace all things with love. Look, the title of this presentation is Only Love Heals. Only love heals. My friends, as I said earlier, there is no subject and object, Kevin Rice or Angela. There is no subject and object here. There's only oneness, okay? There's only an illumination of the recognition from A Course in Miracles that this world is not a world of events. This is not a world of form. This is not a world of self-images. This is a world of ideas. And the question for us today is, what are you doing? What idea are you bringing to your spouse, to your coworkers, your boss, your children, your family, this world? If I have an idea of brokenness, then that is my experience. There's a phrase from A Course in Miracles that Robert Perry illuminated for me, that people operate in this world with a mentality that they don't like people who have damaged brains or broken bodies or weakened egos. What do? They repel themselves from it. As they did with me. I lost a lot of friends. Kevin's going to die, period. So I'm going to stay away from this. Not only that, we're going to get to the guilt that is produced from it as well. I had to remember myself then, this is a world of ideas. So the idea that I want to drop a pebble of love into the pool of awareness, I'm going to drop a pebble of unity in this world by understanding what is happening in this world. A Course in Miracles says, for instance, the body cannot be sick. It is the mind that thinks the body is sick that is sick. All right. So again, the problem is, it's my fault, right, John Denny? That's what you said. And lesson 191 says this, from I Am the Son of God Himself. Look out upon the world and see the suffering there. Is not your heart willing to bring your weary brothers rest? They must await your own release. They stay in chains till you are free. They cannot see the mercy of the world until you find it in yourself. They suffer pain until you have denied its hold on you. They die till you accept your own eternal life. You are the Holy Son of God Himself. Remember this, and all the world is free. Remember this, and earth and heaven are one. All right, we got 2 more quickly here, and then we're going to take about 15 minutes of questions for you. You probably don't have any questions, right?
No, perfect.
Good, good. Let's all take a deep breath together.
Can you say that last part again?
Oh my goodness.
I am the Holy Son of God Himself.
You are the Holy Son of God Himself. Remember this, and all the world is free. Remember this, and earth and heaven are one. It's about alignment. Okay? You are realigning yourself from the voice of fear, the ego, to who you really are. The son or the daughter of God Himself or herself. That's it. What I'm going to give you here is so pivotal in your recovery, your friend's recovery. I remind myself constantly of a story of a woman whose son was killed, and she went to a guru in the East and explained her story to the guru. And the guru says, I'm not here to remove your tears, but to see them as holy. This is the next principle I'm giving you. You are innocent and sacred, full stop. You are innocent and sacred. In other words, how do you know that you're innocent? Because you're not using the past against the present moment anymore. If you do that, your future will look like your past, and it will continue this pattern over and over again. So, the problem with sickness is not sickness, is the guilt that we are, as an idea, are covering and enfolding a person with. We're projecting our own guilt to the world. All right. How do we know if I'll tell you, let me say it this way. If you are festering and feeding guilt in your mind right now, you will see your past full of sin and shame, and you will see your future full of fear. Y'all get this? If you are feeding or festering guilt in your mind right now, your past, Kevin, is full of crap. If you really knew Kevin Rice, you would run away quickly. He's the bottom of a garbage can every day. This is what we tell ourselves. I'm not the only one who thinks this, right? And then we have dread about what's happening, of the uncertainties of the future. This is why we do not activate the past, we don't organize the present, and we don't plan for the uncertainties of the future. We live and move and abide in the eternal, timeless now. Full stop. So we're removing the guilt. And I want to tell you what happened with me and Aaron. As I was finishing my recovery, Aaron got that diagnosis of stage 4 cancer, and we were in Miami. And I was my best friend's condo, and I was on the patio about 2 a.m. in the morning, and the next day, we knew that there was going to get a quote-unquote diagnosis from the doctor about what's happening after everything he went through, the chemo, the radiation, and so forth. And I sat there, and I felt I was at a level 10 anxiety, angst, worry, concern, and so forth. I didn't want to follow that thought. And I sat there and I said, Jesus, what is happening here? What is happening here? Tell me. And that voice arose in my field of awareness clearly. And it said, Kevin, the problem is not Aaron. It's the guilt that you are experiencing yourself. And I looked at myself and I said, my God, yeah, I do feel guilty. I'm not a good husband. I probably didn't do the things that was required by the doctors to do. And the answer was, Kevin, get rid of the guilt. Uproot the guilt. That's the problem. And I said that prayer from A Course in Miracles immediately. I must have chosen poorly because I'm not at peace. I made the decision myself, but I can decide otherwise. I want to decide otherwise because I want to be at peace. I do not feel guilty because the Holy Spirit will undo all of the consequences if I let Him. And I will allow Him to decide for God for me. Right?
Yes.
I am not guilty. Say this with me. I am not guilty. I am not guilty. And the guilt disappeared, and it was replaced by the peace of God. And the next morning, the doctor went through the scope and said, no, there's nothing. There's nothing here. Guilt is the glue that keeps the egoic mind intact. Guilt is the foundation from the past and the future being presented to you in the present moment. And you cover over the eternal, timeless now. And finally, on this point, the guiltless do not reincarnate. Did you get this?
Yeah.
The guiltless do not reincarnate into this dimension. Lesson 140. Sickness, listen, sickness where guilt is absent cannot come, for it is but another form of guilt. Atonement does not heal the sick, for that is not a cure. It takes away the guilt that makes the sickness possible. Let me restate that. Lesson 140. Sickness where guilt is absent cannot come, for it is but another form of guilt. Atonement does not heal the sick, for that is not a cure. It takes away the guilt that makes the sickness possible. And then Robert Perry gave me, I was emailing him about this because I was having survivor guilt, because I was not experiencing the same two friends that were experiencing the same thing. They were having subdural hematomas as well, hemorrhages in their brain, and they were not experiencing the same thing I was experiencing. And it's what psychologists call survivor guilt. And he sent me chapter 27. The bleak and bitter picture you have sent your brother, you have looked upon in grief, and everything that it has shown to him have you believed, because it witnessed to the guilt in him which you perceived and loved. In other words, you project your own guilt to this person. You see a symbol of death right there, a symbol. Attest his innocence and not his guilt. Your healing is his comfort and his health, because it proves illusions are not true. It is not will for life, but wish for death that is the motivation for this world. Its only purpose is to prove guilt is real. Its only purpose in this world is to prove guilt is real. My friend, guilt has no cause, no being, and no consequence. Period. From A Course in Miracles. It has no cause, no being, and no consequence. When things arise in my field of awareness through my call of health and my spouses, I would say to myself, Kevin, this has no cause, this has no being, no substance, and it has no consequence whatsoever. Period. And I did it with faith, conviction, confidence that this is true. Y'all with me? Say yes.
Yes.
Okay. Now, and lastly, and I'll give you 15 minutes here to answer any questions you have. You still having a good time?
Yes.
The fifth one is this. I didn't hear what you said.
She just goes, yes.
God, this is so weary and the bleeding. Okay, Debbie Downer. Anyway.
I don't know which one I'm being right now.
Could be negative.
You are the daughter of God himself. All right. Let's go to the last point here. Forgive, and this will disappear. Forgive, and this will disappear. Again, I'm going to restate this. What you are forgiving is not the event, not the sickness, not your spouse, your family, this world. What you are forgiving is your interpretation of the world. Period. I said this to me every day through my recovery. Forgive, Kevin, and this will disappear. And by the way, you will see the demonstration of this affirmation every day. Okay, one day I had man, I don't know whether I should say this or not. So you're going to remove this from the video, okay? So because of this, our insurance lapsed for a moment. So my brain surgeries was $1 million, right? So that bill was there every day, and I looked at it, and I said, forgive, and this will disappear. Forgive, and this will disappear. Over and over again. And then my spouse gave me a letter from the hospital, and it said, Kevin, out of charity, we are forgiving this debt completely. Yeah. This is why I use this every day. Forgive, and this will disappear. Why? It will disappear because I saw the nothingness of it. I forgave the thought of dread, fear, that I covered the whole thing with. And then because forgiveness also included, and Aaron is my spouse, John Denny mentioned it in his meditation, which is so powerful, by the way, theharmonyexercise.com. We have to bring a level of gratitude to each event. And from my book here in the bookstore, every day, thousands of gifts of love are offered to you. Unfortunately, many people don't avail themselves of these gifts because they are too wrapped up in their own ego limitations to see them. Instead, all they see is what they have put in their consciousness, like judgments, jealousy, bitterness, anger, and fear. If you want real freedom, you must learn that everything you experience is a gift, regardless of the package that carries it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We are not a victim of the world that I see, and I'll end with this from Dr. Michael Beckworth, who we brought him to Miami at Unity on the Bay, where I teach regularly, first and third Sunday of every month, as well in West Palm Beach as well. So he really explains very quickly how to get out of the darkened glass of the ego and to realign ourselves to our true self, okay? By understanding the 4 levels that we go through in this dimension, okay? It is this: to me, say that with me, to me, by me, through me, and as me. So quickly, if you are in the level of to me, you are saying to yourself that you are a victim of the world that you are experiencing. Full stop. This is happening to me. We get to the level, the next level, right? By me. You probably read The Secret, the movie, right? And you're like, oh, my thoughts are powerful. Every thought that I think represents what I'm seeing in time and space. You're in the by me experience. Then you go into a better place of through me. Okay, in other words, you set aside your own self-image called Kevin Rice. You set aside your own personal will, your egoic will, okay? You let go of the insistence that you're right and everybody else is wrong, and you throw your happiness away immediately, okay? And you allow your life to be informed by love instead of being informed by fear. I said this to John before the presentation I thought I was going to give last night. It cannot be difficult to do the task that Christ has asked you to do because it is the Christ who does it. I'm not here giving you miracles or healing experiences. No. It is the Father who does it for me. All I have to do is step back and allow the light to step forward to encompass the world entirely. And then we get to the place of as me. Say that with me. As me. Everything in this dimension is me. It is the one mind of the Son of God. It's either experiencing itself as mind asleep or mind awake. That's it. Mind asleep. You say, Kevin, am I mind asleep right now? If you have picked the fruit of the knowledge of good and evil, if you have exercised judgment or condemnation or attack, because the ego uses the body for three reasons: to attack, to bring pride, or pleasure. Those three things. If you're utilizing those three things, you're experiencing mind asleep. Mind awake is a remembrance of who you are, that you are at home in God, merely dreaming of exile. That's it. You all with me?
Yes.
All right. Now I think I'm done. Now,
But you didn't say what happened with you.
Forgiveness.
Forgiveness.
Oh, the forgive.
be a little bit more specific.
We asked what happened with you, why you had to have the, your brain surgery. And you said to remind you, say forgiveness, and you were gonna tell us.
That is it. Forgive and this will disappear. That is the response. It is that simple. Okay, we've got about 10 minutes here. We have a 10:30 thing, right? And we can get this. It's only 10:11. We started a little late. So, any questions? Make it brief, please. Yes.
Could you just say the 7 things? Just the 7 steps?
Oh, to me, by me.
No, 7 steps. The 7 steps?
5 steps.
Your 5 principles.
Just name.
Oh, yes. Accept all things as they are. Well, the first one was get outside of the darkened glass of the ego. Then, accept all things as they are. Embrace all things with love. That you are innocent and sacred. And forgive, and this will disappear. Next question.
I got one.
Yes.
You have a prison ministry.
Do I have a prison ministry?
Yes.
No, but I was asked in Leavenworth, penitentiary, I can't say that word. That's one, in Kansas. And I was asked by them, because I lived in Kansas City. I worked at Unity Village as a manager in Silent Unity. You know Silent Unity?
Yes.
Yeah, I was a manager there, and I lived at Charles Fillmore's house, too. So anyway, so they asked me to do this. I was 21 years old. I'm 50, or this body is 50. And a priest who was a friend of mine who did that in that federal prison and said, we want you to teach A Course in Miracles there. And I went there, and with all of the slamming doors and so forth, and I said, no, I'm not doing this. Look, I just started A Course in Miracles at 21. So I said no. I'll probably do it today. Are you asking me now?
Yes.
Okay, talk to me later about this. Yes, back there.
I'll join you. I have a question. I heard over dinner yesterday that you used to be a Baptist minister.
I used to be a fundamentalist Christian evangelist. Yeah, I know, I saw that. Look, I was 16 years old, and I went to a Baptist church, and I converted all of my family to fundamentalist Christianity, and all of them. And I also went to TV 50 in Kansas City. There were 4 channels at that time, and I said, I want a show. They gave me a show, and I did that for 3 or 4 years, and I traveled with 2 groups from KYFC TV 50, traveling all the country, and I was the speaker, and then had 2 music groups behind me. When I was 21 years old, I thought, I'm unfulfilled, I don't like this at all, and by the way, my orientation is toward guys, not girls. And I went to a psychiatrist, and I unloaded to him what happened. And after that 1 year, 1 hour, it felt like 1 year, 1 hour with him, he says, Kevin, I've done this for 16 years. I don't think that you need therapy at all, but I have a guidance within me to give you something. And he gave me A Course in Miracles. And it changed my life completely. Yes, Angela.
I want to thank you. I want to thank you for the work that you did, just with your own illness and the determination and commitment that took. And I want to thank you for your so generously sharing openly with such clarity the steps. It's celebration and a contribution.
Thank you, folks. Listen, all of this is being recorded, okay? And you will see snippets of it, probably 10 minutes by 10 minutes videos on my website, onlylovingthoughts.com. If you don't have my business card, come get it afterwards. And if you don't have the bracelet, what would love do now? The most important question in the world. Most people would say, what would hate do now? What would judgment do now? What would blame do now? What would guilt do now? Right? This brings you to the present moment. The most important question in the world, take a bracelet with you. Okay, let me look at the time here. I want to make sure you get timely there. We're so good. It's 10:15. We have 5 more minutes. Yes.
Thank you for the wonderful gift, especially at the end. I just really got it with the show and stuff. And I wanted to ask, embrace all things with love. That doesn't mean embrace poverty with love, does it?
Yes, it does.
Does it mean embrace money with love? And
Yes.
money subject object?
Say that again? A little louder.
Am I making money an object if I'm in poverty or something?
Regardless of the appearances of a call to abundance or abundance itself, that it's our responsibility to unfold this every event, regardless of the appearance, with love, compassion, and innocence. Those 3 things, okay? Love, because that you teach only love, for that is what you are, okay? So you unfold it with love. Compassion, look, I don't care. I have friends who are billionaires and millionaires, and they have a mentality of poverty. It doesn't matter about how much money is in your bank. Abundance is whether you're happy now, okay? So you unfold everything, with love, compassion, that's the compassion, and innocence, because they have no past anymore that you bring against the present moment. That is why they're innocent, okay? Time and space is an optical illusion. It is. Einstein shows it. So we're not going to use, through judgment, using the past against the present moment. That is why our brothers and sisters are innocent right now, okay? Anybody else? Yes?
I just want to thank you for this empowering message. It's very inspiring and it really resonates with me on a lot of levels.
Thank you. Email Community Miracle Center, because I want to be in Los Angeles next year. Okay? Okay, anybody else? A little louder, though.
Okay, yes. So I guess I also had a 2-part question.
Okay.
So when you said really resonated that the guilty mind is not reincarnated.
Correct.
And so I guess the first part of the question is going to be the best advice on how to liberate the mind of all the guilt. And I guess secondly, I guess hard math has proven that we have an 8-meter field on our heart, but I might argue that it might even be further than that, because
Oh, of course.
group meditations have proven that if we meditate.
Yes. Look, it envelops the entire dream state, not just 8 meters away. But science shows us that at least it's 8 meters away.
And that's the electromagnetic. Who knows this?
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Answering the guilt, I think you were a little late on this. You're going to see it on the video on my website, onlylovingthoughts.com. Okay? Anybody else?
Just thank you.
Thank you. One more question, my last question.
Do you have your book so I can see what it looks like?
It's in the bookstore right now.
Show us the cover.
Oh, she just wanted you to show her.
Oh.
Because there's lots of books in there.
The game of love, changing the rules, changes everything. This will change your perception of relationships immediately, okay? And it'll show you how to have your relationships, your marriages really transformed by changing the rules. You change everything, okay? Folks, I'm going to join with you in the thing that we're having, I guess, in the ballroom.
Yes.
And if no one has told you today that they love you, allow me to be the first. I love you so freaking much, man. Hey, if you don't have a bracelet, come and get one, okay? And get my business card as well, onlylovingthoughts.com, and my phone number is there as well, and you can email me with any questions.